Okay, people, so tonight we're going to be assembling the jug and the piston and the rings, and there's a lot of manuals out there for Gravely tractors, and the manual I've been going off of is for the Model L, and so there's specific specifications for the rings, the two compression rings and the oil ring for the piston prior to assembly. And that is, you have to measure the gap of a ring inside the cylinder before putting it on the piston and putting the piston and the assembly back inside the cylinder. So I've already assembled, or I've already insert one ring. This is what they call the top compression ring. The manual calls it the chrome ring, and I'll explain to that in a minute. Because it has a chrome edge around the outer ring. So, so the gap for the first ring is anywhere between 0.012 and 0.020. And as I have done, the rings come in a package. The rings are separate, okay? And I've written down on each ring container the gap size that they're supposed to be inside the cylinder. So there's the top ring, and you can see the gap. I think my lens is dirty. Let me clean it. So yeah, that made a little bit of difference. So anyway, so that's already gapped, but I wanted to show it. So 020, I've already checked it. 020 is way too fat. As you can see the gap, and I'll get there, but I'm gonna get the 012 out and show you. So, and also, why is it so far down? Well, it didn't explain it in the manual. However, in another manual that I had, it suggested putting the ring in like so, and then taking the piston and letting it go down until just where the rings are, or where the piston rod ring pin goes. Okay, so there's no weight on it, and you can see it's the same distance. So I will have a very good measurement with the feeler gauge for the ring down there. So I'm going to kind of reposition this, and so you can see what I'm doing. I know the gap is right there, and as you can see, or maybe not, but I am in against the cylinder wall, and I'm in the gap, and it's a nice smooth ride. So I know without even having to file it, because if I couldn't get a 0.012 in there, I would have to file it until I could get this in there and make it move up and down real easy. So I wanted to point that out and show that. I haven't found a video that shows that. Also, good note would be to tell you that when you're putting the first ring in, and the successive rings when you're measuring the gap on them, is put some oil around so it's an easier slide. If not only that, but for the piston to go down. I mean, the piston's got the regular clearance that it's supposed to have, right? But just so there's an easier way to get it out, and you feel a little bit better about not scraping the inside. And then once you got that gap, so you can see, if I hold it in the light right, you can see how that's a chrome finish. And so that's what they call the chrome side. So that's your number one, or your top piston. So the next one, and I'm putting it back in the bag, the next one is what they call the steel ring, or the middle ring. And same as I did with the first one, make sure it's clean, it's got some dirt on it. So I just kind of pop it in. Again, I'm doing this with one hand. Pop it in until it's just started to go on its own, right? And then you kind of use the piston to go get it down to the position you want it to. Now, I think if the book said either the top of the pin or the bottom, but as you can see, I'm in the same position for both sides of the pin, so I'm good for a measurement. Pull that out. And my gap is right there. That's supposed to be at 0.008 to 0.016. So it's a tighter fit. So get the 018 going. Again, using one hand. There's my feeler gauge. 011, 010, 009, 008. Make sure I got nothing else stuck with them. The last cylinder I rebuilt, I had to shave the or file the rings down, and I wasn't really comfortable in doing that. Beautiful fit. I won't have to cut it at all. In fact, I got a little room, so I wonder if I can go up to 016. I shouldn't be able to get the 016 in, but I'm going to try it anyway. Turned right to it. 016. I should not be able to get this in there. And I cannot. No, it just will not go in there. So I'm within the interval that I'm supposed to be with, so I'm happy about that. So that ring is good. So the last ring is the oil ring, which goes to the bottom of the piston. But this is a 3-tiered ring. And the gap for the 3-tiered ring, and this is no fun to put together, trust me, because that you don't measure. You don't measure the gap on that, because that goes, you don't measure the gap on this. This just goes together in between the two rings. One's on the bottom, this goes in the middle, and one's on top. But once it's in there, it goes together like, I'm trying to put it together with my big fingers. It goes together like so, if you can see it. There you go. Inside, yeah, with both rings on top. So these are supposed to be 0.015 to 0.055, which is a pretty big gap, if you ask me, but you know, it is what it is. So just pop it in like I just did. Let your piston ride it down to where you need it to be. Now these are much skinnier, so it means the weight of the piston will push them down further than I want to. So I'm cool with where that landed. So again, a 0.015. I should have left the 016 out. To an 0.55. So I'm going to go with a 2.0 just to see. I got to find my gap first. I see it. The gap's off 4 o'clock position down there. I don't think a 2.0 is going to fit, but I'm going to try it anyway, since it's within the interval. And the 0.20 goes in. So I'm cool with that. I can go up to an 0.55, but I'm almost snug with the 0.20. So let me see. And sorry for moving the camera all over the place. If I got an 0.55, I don't. I go up as far as a 3.2. And my 3.2's got a rust, but I got a 3.0, so let's check the 3.0 out. Let's see if we just fall within that parameter. Ouch. Pinched my finger. And well, I knocked the ring. So now I've lost my measurement. Hold on. Trials and tribulations of holding on to a cell phone. I lost my mount. Now, an 0.30 does not fit in. So I'm cool with this ring. So the other ring should be about the same. In fact, well, should be the same. Get it in. Push it down to the desired depth. It's about where I want to be. Pull it out, and notice I didn't spin that around because I'll knock it out of place. I gotta find, there it is. And no, that's not it. Where is the gap? That is the gap. So 030 is too fat for it. So I'm gonna find the 015. I'm going to try an 017. Huh. Looks like I'm going to have to file this one because, yeah, well, it's out of whack too. But even an 017. So I'm going to have to shave it a little bit because it's completely sealed. There's you can barely see the gap. But it's barely, it's touching. So I'm going to have to file that a little bit. So, but anyway, that's the instruction for setting the rings for both top, middle, compression rings, and the oil ring. And so when I get this one filed down, I will start to record again and on the assembly, because we're putting the jug on tonight. And I can't put the jug on tonight. I have to paint it. And I gotta go out and get myself more black paint and I'm out. Anyway, so thanks for watching.